U.S. M2 money supply now. They are still printing money. They're always printing more money.
The framework been built, but the new movement is boss bull music. Just remember, y'all choose it. Hey, it could have been love. Now you better call Drewski.
What's up? It's Frame. The Federal Reserve has announced they're going to cut interest rates down 1/4 to 4 from 4.5%. See, why did we raise interest rates? We raised interest rates because they print money like crazy. COVID, they printed a whole ton of money. An absurd amount of money, adding lots of U.S. dollar into the currency supply. That is the true definition of inflation, adding more currency to the currency supply. Inflation, why? Because you're inflating it, you're blowing it up. Like a balloon, you inflate a balloon, you can inflate a currency supply. Because of all that nonsense they've done forever with money printing, we are $33-something trillion in debt. Don't believe me? Here's a little trick you can look at. This is usdebtclock.org. It shows you, actually we're at 37 trillion and not 33 trillion anymore, but almost $38 trillion in debt. The most debt that any country has ever been in ever. Nobody is even close to this amount, and you can see it is ticking by the second. Our total debt, that's the national debt, our total debt, $100 trillion. So, and right here, money creation, U.S. M2 money supply now. They are still printing money. They're always printing more money. This is part of the simulation. This is part of the game. So, they had to raise interest rates to keep banks from loaning out more money, over leveraging on top of the already inflated currencies and all the other loans that's out there, the trillions of dollars in loans. Oh, it's a nasty, 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 nasty looking economy. However, when they lower interest rates, historically we've seen spikes in the stock market, gold, silver, crypto. It's gold and silver, crypto, all those looking very nice, as I've been saying for years now with this nonsense going on. But let's see what the Feds are saying. Recent indicators suggest that growth of economic activity moderated. What does that even mean? It moderated? In the first half of the year, job gains have slowed. Okay, so it did moderate. Job growth slowed. And employment rate edged up. So it went up. Yeah, employment rate went up. Jobs have slowed, but still remains low, which we know this is a joke. If you've been out there at all in the real world, you know it is not exactly what they're saying. Inflation has moved up and remains somewhat elevated. You don't say. You don't say. So they're seeking to achieve maximum employment and inflation at the rate of 2% over the longer run. 2% inflation? Why? Because they're constantly printing money. They're 2% in their calculations and always increasing the U.S. money supply. Uncertainty about the economic outlook remains elevated. The committee is attentive to risk to both sides of its dual mandate and judges that downside risk to employment has risen. All I'm seeing is nothing really good in none of this. The committee will continue reducing its holdings of Treasury securities and agency debt and agency mortgage-backed securities. So, if you don't know, I'll keep saying it, the Federal Reserve is not a part of the federal government. They're a private company. And they also are in debt as well. And what are they selling off right now to get out of debt? Treasury securities. They're selling off U.S. Treasuries. The federal government, not the federal government, but they are too, but the Federal Reserve is selling off their own Treasury securities. And then their agency mortgage-backed securities. So they're selling off a bunch of land loans and a bunch of treasuries. They're not bullish on the U.S. economy. They're selling right now. But notice what they're not selling. They're not selling gold. They're not selling silver. They're not selling crypto. What are they buying? What is everyone buying? BlackRock, Grayscale, two of the biggest investment companies in the world. What have they been buying? Bitcoin and other cryptos. Because as they continue to print money and devalue the purchasing power of the US dollar, it makes the value, when you're measuring in US dollar, of other assets go up historically. Because that is the US dollar performing against that asset. So when the value, the purchasing power of the US dollar is dropping, then guess what? It costs a lot more US dollars for those assets, for those things that people are wanting to buy. So to me, this is bullish for several things. Is it bullish for the stock market as well? Probably so, because every time they lower interest rates, we see spikes in the stock market. Now, which sector? Who knows? I'd say AI, crypto sectors are going to continue to be hot because we are literally going through a whole economic reset in the whole world where everything is going to blockchain because it's the fastest way and most secure way to do transactions we've ever had in history. But what do I know? I'm just a guy. That's all for this update on the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, and what they're cooking.
Keep your dirt weed. I need a big spliff of Gorilla Glue mixed with some jet fuel. If 2.5's near, I got a stiff dick for 'em. I don't need Blue Chew, but y'all can sponsor me on YouTube. Give me all the digits in a pile of fire.
I'm upside down, living in the twilight.
If this ain't a hit, I don't know what is. Uh-oh, Trump and Elon beefing. What about, I don't know, I'm too busy chiefing. Probably just smoking mirrors like Katy Perry. I just don't know what to tell you, what the fuck's wrong with me. Can't escape the old life, still wanting more ice dripping off my wife.